Greetings and welcome to 2024. This video, well, you know what, let's be honest, you know why you're here. You are those select few that do actually watch these. If you do watch these, then you're those real followers. You enjoy not just the monsters and all that, but you actually maybe enjoy what I do and enjoy the various changes and waves I've gone through on this channel. First up, apologies, as the audio for this video did not actually get recorded through my microphone and audio recorder, so I used the camera's audio recording and tried to up the quality on that as much as possible. Sorry about that. Now, a lot of those different changes and waves did come into existence because of things that happened outside of my control, like YouTube changing things, and then me just adjusting and then adjusting to not just that, but then changes in my life and those situations. So anyway, with that, let's get started with our review of 2024. There's actually been a lot of video releases, surprising enough, this year with all that's happened in my life. Let's start with this one, which was the 2022 review. And so what these are is basically I summarize all the videos that I've done in the year. And it's a great video for those of you that are new to the channel or just missed something so you can catch up. And I just tell you real quick what sort of videos are out there so you can find them. So it's always nice to go back to that. You can go back to the 2022 so you can see what I've done in 2022. It's nicer watching this 10-15 minute video rather than shuffling through and wasting more time in things that you may not be interested. So that was the first video of last year, as this will be the first video of 2024 when we do that review. So at the start of last year, I had the video where I talked about my favorite monsters of 2022, the previous year. Kind of in review, but not really, just going over my favorite monsters in different categories, like from tabletop to movies to video games. That video was really fun. I'm probably not going to do that this year, but if there is a huge uprising in the comment section that you'd like to see this video done for 2023, do let me know, and it's possible I could do that as well, but right now it's not in the plans. So coming into 2023, we already had the Monster Cast going, the podcast, the Monster Cast 2.0, where Chris co-hosted with me, and that was just a good time. It was a cool strategy that I formulated where I could do these long shows live, and then I could take edits of different topics that would be more focused and shorter so you can see something relevant that you wanted to, and made videos out of that. So this video, for instance, was why this is so important in contemplating actual monsters, and the other title was something why video games are so important for contemplating real monsters or actual monsters. The next one is a Monster Cast one as well, and that is monsters that would be amazing to see in a video game. Maybe we don't see them enough, or maybe we don't see them in the way that we should, or maybe we haven't really seen them having been done justice in their presentation, but that's another video that was part of a Monster Cast discussion. Next one was as well also an edit from the live show, and that was what makes a monster scary. That was a really fun discussion as well. We did more around that kind of theme. As far as the Monster Cast 2.0, we did slow down with those. I had some live changes. I had a big physical move with all our belongings and stuff. And then Chris had his own live goings on. And then I just kind of analyzed where things were going with the Monster Casts and where they would go. And I think the way I hosted and the topic, it's maybe good for a different podcast. And if we kept going, it would have definitely grown slowly and things like that, but it wasn't anything substantial. And all in all, I do feel like we had a great time with it, and we did test it out and experience to the most of what it could be. And with everything else I'm involved in, and Chris as well, there's probably better things upon the horizon. So we just kind of moved on from that. And so the next video is actually, well, it's the top solo board games that I have. So I actually displayed my whole collection that you can also play solo or only play solo or whatever, and then ranked them from my worst to favorite for solo play. At this point, I had a lot of things pending that had to be unboxed and still played, because I made so many Kickstarter supports the previous couple years and such. Nonetheless, it was a really fun video to get all those in display. but this was sort of maybe to see how the audience like feels about it, and it actually did pretty decent, and I'm happy to invite new people over to the channel. And I'm sure the people that enjoy board games and solo board games as well, they're going to enjoy the monster related stuff as well, because a lot of this stuff is sci-fi or fantasy based. So that was a pretty cool list. Things have changed by now as I'm playing more games, so we will do a future update of that for sure. I do recommend to check out that video to see where I stand with all of those. Next one was a fun Monster Cast event, which was the Scariest Monster Challenge. So basically, Chris and I and the live viewers as well would go over those top websites that list the top scariest monsters and see if they actually were. If you like that kind of thing, you should definitely check out that video. Next was Monsters of Nostalgia. Now, since I'm leading the show, for the most part, it's heavy 80s stuff and early 90s, mid 90s, stuff like that. But then we have other people sharing stuff as well, and of course Chris as well. Next up was the first monster review videos. I wanted to think of what can I do so I stop shifting things on this channel, where my heart lies with the monster stuff. And I used to call my really in-depth videos monster review videos, but they're really like just explaining and just beating the subject to death as much as I could, so nobody else could bring up anything about this monster anymore. But I called them review videos, and that's really what's pleasing about this, and for me to make these videos and keep them coming out as, you know, I grow older, and who knows how the channel and YouTube does, but as long as I, you know, enjoy doing these and find that people would enjoy them too, I formulated these review type videos where I chose certain categories to score a monster by, and then at the end of that scoring, apply it a tier level. And so these kind of videos, because there's so much about monsters, there wasn't that much when I first started this channel, but now there's so much out there, so you can find any monster information that you want. But this video kind of summarizes all that the monster is and gives it that tier score, and I think that's pretty satisfying to make, and I can imagine it'd be pretty satisfying to watch. Next one was Megan, the AI robot. That was another monster review. Both of them were movie review or movie monsters. I do recommend you check those out, especially because it's always fun seeing the scoring and then see where that monster stands as far as the tier from S tier to, what is the last one, F. Next video up was quirky and clever monster weaknesses that you wouldn't expect. That was another Monster Cast discussion, and this was the edit that came up. The next one was the Keeper, the first TV series monster to be reviewed. That was awesome. I thought it would be just such a beautiful moment to have the Crypt Keeper on World of Monsters. We haven't talked about the Crypt Keeper much in the past, and definitely not enough. Next was another edit from the Monster Cast. This was covering the Betty and Barney Hill stuff. It's basically about Michelle Obama's company, I forgot which Obama or both of them, producing and or funding a movie that's based on the Betty and Barney Hill alien abduction story. And there are several shorts that I also edited out of those Monster Casts. If you like our geeky, nerdy sort of humor and things like that that would happen at the Monster Cast, I highly recommend you go and look over our shorts, as there are some good memories there that Chris and I had, and definitely in these longer videos there's a lot of nice memories we've had together and experiences, as well as all the viewers that would join us live and in voice chat as well. Next video that was uploaded was the most fascinating cryptids that you would find to be caught and studied, and why. And that was also another topic from the Monster Cast. And that's what was so brilliant making these edits, because these videos would take me a while to do by myself. Whereas with Chris and everybody else involved that was watching, we could make a cool edit with not just my thoughts about it, but another person's, and put it all together to have a much more just fulfilling and information and monster-packed video in the end, rather than having me do these videos alone and over-editing them and things like that. That was the genius part of it all, as you didn't just hear my perspective, but other people's as well. And we do have a great community. Now, next video, also a big edit from the Monster Cast. That was a big one. That was one of our longest ones. And that's the All Arnold Character Tournament. I thought this would do better. I think this, I'm not going to sit here and praise my videos, but I am going to shout out the the Arnold Tournament, because where else have you seen that on YouTube? We took all the Arnold characters of all the movies that Arnold's ever been in, and made a showdown. I made that all in Photoshop ready for the ultimate Wiener Schnitzel in the middle. And the outcome was actually a little bit unexpected. Such a fun journey, and this will be in the caverns of fame for a long time. And next up we have the Xenomorph. So this is another monster review video where I reviewed the Xenomorph of the Alien franchise and gave it a tier. Let's see what tier you think I scored it at, as I'm sure you would place it quite up there. And so as I mentioned earlier, I had a lot of board games still pending to be unboxed. So once I got around to those unboxes, which I started doing quick, just unbox it, learn the game, which wasn't that quick, but I wanted to learn every game as fast as I could before unboxing the next one. So I did do that, and then I wanted to showcase those just because it was cool and it was like a continuous thing. I'm done with all that now with that big amount of board games. I have unboxed them and shared all that stuff with you guys. So that was Ether Fields, which is a very dreamy, wild game. And if you love miniatures, it has a lot of nice monster eye candy in it. Next one was the Cacodemon of Doom review, the first video game monster to be reviewed. Just imagine, what tier did that monster score? What tier do you think it should score? Great video, fun to make, all that. Next was my Zombicide expansion, so the expansion that you get when you supported the Kickstarter. So that is an unboxing of that expansion, which is just really a bunch of miniatures and a bunch of, should I say, cameos? Because they're not the official characters, but you can kind of tell. Like, there's an Ozzy Osbourne character. Of course, it's not Ozzy because of licensing or whatever, but it's Ozzy, and that's who I've been looking forward to play as one of my characters in Zombicide. So a bunch of miniatures. Pretty fun unboxing right there. Next one is a video I've been wanting to do for a long time. It's just so pleasing to make a video on a topic that you're passionate about and you just want to share with people, right? All of us have those things we love, and then we just want to talk about it. Well, that's the beauty of having a YouTube channel, is you just basically do that, whether people listen or not. And that's what this was. Top 10 monster movies with dark endings, because a lot of those are like amongst my favorite movies of all time, and definitely favorite amongst monster movies. So that's a really enjoyable list. I got a lot of cool recommendations from there to see other movies, and I started working on that as well, so I appreciate that. But I do recommend you check that out if you're looking for some good monstrous movies. And if you like those dark twists and just things like that, not that happy ending in the end, something a little bit maybe more thoughtful, unexpected, or creative. Next one was another board game unboxing. And again, these unboxings are not normal unboxings, they are monstrous unboxings. And that means I open and unbox the board game in front of you, but I look for those things that are monstrous, which are usually monster miniatures to show in front of the camera. So they're highly edited. I don't talk and look through all these details. And that was all the monstrous stuff in Nemesis Lockdown. Next one was the Monster Art Contest introductory video. So that's at the beginning of every October. You're always welcome to join us on the Halloween Monster Art Contest, and there's always a prize. Really, there's always a minimum pretty much of $150 in prizes, and that means that the first place winner gets $100. There's been more. Our highest one was over $400. I do invite you all to always participate in them. I've been doing these for a long time now. I think one more year, and then that's going to be 10 years. So I think 9 years. And then next up, we have another movie monster review video where I reviewed the werewolves of the movie Late Phases. That was our first werewolf in the series of monster review videos. So if you're onto that, definitely check it out. Next up was another unboxing, and that's Everything Monstrous or Everything Monster in Arena, the contest. What a game, too. I'm really looking forward to jumping that one here. Maybe soon. We'll see. Next up, this was sort of a disappointment for me after release, because I was really looking forward to make this video. But I understand, and that is Venom cards. So I started collecting Venom cards when I was young, maybe 13, and then, I stopped. And until sort of more recently, the last few years, I started looking for stuff on eBay, Venom only cards, because I focused on grabbing all the different Venoms. I would trade with other kids when I was younger just for Venom. And I organized them from the worst to my favorite card. And that took me like a full day. And then editing this down and showcasing the front and back of every card. And then I put it out and like barely anybody sees that. If you love Venom, you have to check this out. Next was a Monstrous unboxing. So looking at everything monster in Euthia. Euthia is a cool game. I can't wait to play more of that and give it a board game review, as that's another new thing. Not too much to see in that video. It is shorter, so you can jump into that and see what these videos entail, as there wasn't that many miniatures in that one. That's why it was shorter. But the game's pretty awesome. That's all I'll say for now. Next video up was the results video for the monster art contest that we had, Halloween monster art contest at the end of October, because you have all the way till Halloween, and then November 1st, 2nd is when everything is due by, and then whoever helps me judge, once we have all our scores done, I release this video to show who the winners are and everybody's scores that they received. And under those videos, you can always see all the previous year's videos. I always link those on there on YouTube in the comments section, so you can quickly see who the top winners were and such. Next was, in short, what I initially wanted to do. Already I thought about this like at least 6 years ago. Start getting cool board games with miniatures, because I am pretty good at painting them and I enjoy painting them. I wanted to showcase gameplay videos, but I wanted always to do something that nobody else on YouTube does, and that's do cool cinematic playthroughs of board games. For me, watching people play board games or D&D is generally boring, to be honest. I wanted to play the board games as if I was a kid and telling the story as the book reads it and sharing that and making it like a cinematic experience for you. But while doing this, actually playing it with all the rules. But you don't need to see the dice rolls. That's what I wanted to do different. I wanted to show the action. So you got your band of heroes, you walk in here, you kill a zombie, you move next, then the boss shows up. But narrate it in a way that it's like a story, and you're just captivated by watching what goes on while knowing that I'm actually playing this out, but not showing you the dice rolls, all the wasted time, looking at the rule book. I'm in character all the time, and anytime I'd be out of character, the screen is black and white. That was my goal, and I kind of tried that with Village Attacks here, but then I edited down and did it all like a quest log instead of like a playthrough. So I kind of summarized how this playthrough went, but still try to be cinematic with it. This is kind of a phrase that I coined, was board game cinematic playthroughs, because cinematic videos in the video games are all those scripted little videos that happen in moments, and those are the cinematic moments. But for board games, obviously you don't have that in this reality. I wanted it to really be immersive and people watching it, not because they're really into board games, but to watch for a cool story and just to see how these things pan out. But I do think that's a cool idea. And if somebody else did that well, I would definitely watch that. The next one was kind of an unboxing. I didn't want to go through all the details of Frosthaven, as there's just so much content and the monstrous stuff. There's not much miniatures just for the characters there are, but there's a ton of standing. It's just a huge game. But I just wanted to express what makes Frosthaven so epic, because already Gloomhaven was regarded as the epic one, and Frosthaven just took it that many steps further. And the gameplay, once we get those to the review of that and in the future, that was taken a whole different level. Next one was another review video, the first one of a mythological creature, and that was the Hydra. What a great first mythological creature to enter these review videos. So that was the last one that we've done. So at what tier do you think the Hydra should stand among all monsters of mythology and in general? And the final last board game unboxing was of Aeon Trespass, where I was showcasing everything monster in that game, and there was a hell of a lot. And it was the last one because I was also doing the unboxings in order from lowest rated on Board Game Geek, the website, to highest rated. And out of all those games, Aeon Trespass Odyssey was highest rated, and it was a great last board game to unbox. You have to check out. I know it's a longer video, but there's reason for it, because there's so many minis. It is an epic game like Frosthaven. Frosthaven just has a lot of things like envelopes. This has a ton of quality big minis. Just everything about this game is epic. The whole playthrough, you're controlling titans against primal, huge godlike creatures. There was a lot of nice eye candy in that box, so do check that out. The next one is my newest series that I will be consistent with, I believe, as well, just like with those monster reviews, and that is board game review videos. Because I have that hobby, and it does link with monsters, although some board games don't, because they just don't feature monsters, but most by far do and will. So therefore, I started these review videos because I am passionate about them. I know a certain part of our followers at this point will be, and then we'll bring in others scoring the board games. Just like with the monster reviews, I score the board games, but in obviously different categories, but in a different final grading too. Whereas the monsters are scored onto a tier list, board games kind of get a report card. So they are scored by the A, B, C, D, F grading structure that you would have in school, in schools, at least around here. Village Attacks was the first one, and my focus in reviewing these board games is solo based. I think usually a game is funner with other people. Sometimes that's just not that easy or convenient, and sometimes you just want to explore board games solo, because when you're playing a board game solo, you're really playing the board game. You're really enjoying the content, and when you're playing with someone else, you're kind of just playing with your friend and having a good time, and the board game is part of that good time, but you're maybe not that into it and immersed. But when you're soloing, you definitely are. So solo board game reviews with the category scoring, I think, is really helpful for the consumers and hobbyists. So I'm proud to say that we did end this year consistently for the most part, right? Because there's only one board game review video, but the whole point is the monster reviews, and board game reviews are my thing going forward. I've said it now. It's beginning of 2024. I've been consistent with the monster reviews at the end of last year, and now with the addition of board game reviews. Those will be lessons. So if you're not into board games, don't worry, because I need to do quite a few plays in a board game to be able to review it correctly. Because something like Gloomhaven, it's going to take me weeks, if not months, to play before I can formulate a proper review for it. So those will be more far between. The monster review videos will be the more common content on the channel. I'm going to have a good time always here, and if you join me for it, you're always welcome. And we have the Discord. I gotta say, the Patreon membership, even though it's small and whatever, I'm always gonna shout it out, because I also want to shout out those people that are a part there. So that was the mess that 2023 was. But if you want to join me in, say, a more organized 2024, I do recommend that you check out these videos, as these will be the types of review videos that you will see. Now, if you don't know the Cacodemon, then you've probably heard of the Xenomorph. And also, I do have that first board game review, so you can see the structure of my board game reviews and what those will look like. I think you'll find it, as I would, quite satisfying. All the best of 2024 to you.